So we're going to use the water level indicator here to see how far down from the top of the casing.
Did you guys hear that already? Yeah.
Okay. So everyone can kind of hear that little buzz. That means that I've hit the water table. And I can read it off the tape how far down from the water table it is. And it's 4.15 feet down from the top of here down to the water table. So what we can do is we can see how far down below the ground surface that is. And it is about 3 feet of the pipe is sticking up. So the water level is about a foot beneath the ground right here, just a foot beneath the ground. So you can't really just like look down there and easily do that. So you need a water level indicator so we know what the water level, what did I say the water level was? Somebody write it down?
5 feet.
Got a pen?
I do.
I said 4.1.
I got.
Aiden, grab the pen.
4.1. 4.1 feet from the TOC, top of casing.
Well.
Okay.
No, this is for connectivity. Just write it off down here.
Okay, this is called a bailer, and this is how we get a sample from our well. It's pretty simple. It's a clear plastic tube. There's a little seal in there, a little ball that moves around. And you lower it down.
Oh, geez,
So
that's
it's
cold.
empty right now, everyone sees that? Lower it down into the well.
Can you not?
Can you hear that, you guys?
Makes gurgling.
Allendale kids, you're really distracting my students. Could you not? Hey, thank you so much. We don't want to watch you. We don't want. You want to come by me?
Listen to your dad.
Whoa, respect Dr. Reamer.
Okay, so now we have some water. And it's groundwater. So this might be some of the first groundwater you guys have ever
Ever in my life.
seen.
This is so cool, you guys.
This is interesting.
Wow.
So groundwater is kind of in the news because there's an Ice Mountain bottling plant, and essentially Ice Mountain pumps water out of the ground just like that. Their wells are professionally installed, so the water's not dirty like this. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to sell it. But what we can do now is measure the conductivity of the groundwater. You want to turn that thing on? Do the on button.
Thanks, Valerie, for
Yep.
filming. I appreciate it. Good job, Noah. Final
So
kids, I am impressed.
let's see what the
Thank you for being
conductivity of the
Remember to take
groundwater
some notes,
sample
okay,
is.
people?
You have a value there about?
You don't have to record it.
Yep.
50.
This is the well.
50 cents.
Going down a little
The
bit.
rain. You guys, look at this. The rain was
Okay.
13 conductivity.
Okay,
And
so
now we're gonna measure what's in the well, conductivity-wise.
334. Do you see that?
This is
Okay, 334.
Wow.
So 334. And what was rain?
No, 330.
13.
13. So I think we can all agree 334 is a lot higher than 13. So why does groundwater have a higher conductivity? What does conductivity tell us again?
We only heard it one time from Dr. Reamersville when he came to school, so don't be afraid to guess.
Well, there should be some. There's some Picard kids in here.
Picard kids, do you know
Raise
this
your hand,
answer?
Picard kids. So tell me what's conductivity? What's conductivity tell you? What is it a measure of?
It's a measure of how close the particles are to each other.
Okay, what kind of particles? Or like you can say how close or how many, right? How many?
Yeah.
How many particles? So how many dissolved ions? So how much stuff is dissolved in the water? That's what conductivity tells us. So why shouldn't we be surprised that the conductivity of groundwater is a lot higher than rain? What is rain kind of touched, or what has rain kind of gone through? Again, this is from a rain barrel, so it's gone through the atmosphere, right?
Put that on.
What has groundwater gone through? Yeah, the ground. That's kind of why it's called groundwater. So groundwater represents water that's traveled through soil and sediment and sand and rock. And so we shouldn't be surprised that more stuff gets dissolved into our groundwater compared to something like rain. Okay?
What does rain go through? Just the air, right?
Yeah.
And although it picks up molecular particles as it comes down, right? And maybe if it's runoff off the roof or something of a rain barrel, it's got other little particles in it. But this area here has tons of sediments that dissolve into the water. And
Okay.
that is such a great example of the
So
difference between
all these white pipes are groundwater wells. Most of them that my students installed. We're kind of also studying this pond because we have a pipe that goes directly in this small pond, and we're interested in kind of monitoring what the impact of salt water from that pipe, the impact of that on the pond. Do you guys see that there's a stake over there in the water in the pond? That's what we call a staff gauge. That has numbers on it so we can monitor the water level in the pond. So we talked about how to get the water level in the well, right? So we can see where the water table is. We can see what elevation of the water table is here, and we can measure and figure out what the elevation of the pond is. The water level in the past in this well, the water level elevation is higher than the pond. So is groundwater going to the pond, or is the pond water going up here? Yeah, what do you think? Which way's do you think the groundwater is going to the pond, or do you think the pond water is flowing up here?
Pond water is flowing up here.
Okay, that's not quite right
You didn't
because
hear what he
the
said.
water table is higher here, and groundwater flows from high water levels to low water levels. So groundwater is flowing towards our pond. The pond water is flowing towards the stream because as we go back to the classroom, you'll look and you'll see that the stream water is much lower than the pond, okay? The one last thing I want to do is I want to get a sample of the pond water and measure the conductivity of that. So I need someone else to do. You're holding that thing. I'll let the skeleton guy do it.
That thing.
So let's get a quick sample of the
Because on the chart, you're going to write for the pond. See? Well, you'll write. Robbie, would you do this so that Carter can write? So let's apply what we know a minute, you guys, from our pond at
You got a
Woodcrest
tune-on?
Park.
Okay.
Girls, our pond at Woodcrest Park, we might have, I don't know if Dr. Remersman has kids that can come out and help us there, but put these things in at the pond if we check
Okay,
with the
what do we got?
township
What- you wanna
and they
read
want
that?
us to measure the surface
to
water, we
yourself.
could have these there, right? And we could have
yeah, it
this
says
material and be able to
539.
test for this.
What's the top number?
That's
the
537 right now.
537. It's going down a little bit?
Yeah.
It was at 540.
Now it's 536.
Okay. It takes a little time to equilibrate. It's kind of slowly going down. So 536. So we have 536 in the pond. I'm gonna write that in there. 536. So we have more stuff dissolved in the pond than we do in the groundwater. We don't have time, but the other thing we could do would be to measure the conductivity of the stream and kind of compare that as well. The conductivity in part in the past has been high in the pond because of saltwater runoff. So we've been monitoring that. The conductivity of the pond can range from like 300 to 1400. So this is a little bit higher than the groundwater. So the groundwater flowing into the pond is actually diluting the pond water a little bit as far as dissolved ions.
Oh yeah. So where does the salt come from? Guys, where do you think the salt comes from that gets in this pond? Quentin? Salt deposits. Salt deposits in the rocks, maybe. Good. Where
Okay.
else? Where else might the salt come from? What's going to happen tomorrow? And we're going to have trouble driving until they put salt on the road. So might this parking lot get salt on it? And look at how it's graded so that all the runoff would come down into this pond, right?
Actually, all the runoff goes into a pipe that goes into the pond.
Does it really?
Yeah, so it's even kind of more direct. And I
Yeah.
checked, I didn't see any salt on the road yet, so maybe they haven't. Have they salted your parking
Not
lots
yet.
yet? Not yet.
No. They
So-
plowed a little the other day.
Okay, I think we'll leave this here for the next group. Does anyone have any final questions? Because we're kind of overdue. Yeah.
What's that
that basket over there for?
So that basket, do they do this at your school? If you like get in trouble or talk too much in school, that's a timeout spot. So it's kind of people are really well behaved at Allendale Middle School this time of year because it's so cold in the timeout spot. Okay, let's go inside. Let's go.
Wait, what do I do with this?